Things have taken a serious turn for the Minnesota Wild after a brand new report has dropped detailing that nobody on this team appears to be safe, with Jesper Wallstedt being named in trade rumors. We're going to be breaking it down as well, some stuff from Michael Russo, including a confirmation, as well as what Filip Gustavsson really has to do with all of this and how the NHL has already seen this in very, very recent years. We're going to be breaking it down here in this video, going over how things have really changed over the past couple of months, but also what this means going forward for the Minnesota Wild, as trading a former first-round goalie this early on in his career seems like something that not many teams would risk doing, just because of the thought that what could haunt you in years to come. And with the Minnesota Wild, after acquiring Quinn Hughes, it really seems like this team is ready to go all in, and waiting isn't really in the vocabulary, of Bill Guerin. Now, before we do jump into all of the news that we do have here today, this video is brought to you by Kalshi. And when you download Kalshi using the link below and entering the partner code DIGESTNHL, you'll get $20 when you trade your first 100. Kalshi is the largest prediction market in the US, and on their platform, you can trade yes or no on real-life events, sports, news, elections, pretty much everything. They have you covered. Whether you're in California, Texas, or Minnesota like the majority of Wild fans, Kalshi is live in all 50 states. And for sports fans, you can trade on game outcomes, playoff chances, player performances, and so much more, all on a regulated market where you can cash out at any time. And looking at the Wild's next game, a major bounce back is needed, and they're at 58% chance to win. I'm trading yes after the way we saw this team perform against the Montreal Canadiens. A day rest today, heading into tomorrow's game, this team is going to come out firing. But they also have many things, such as the NFL playoffs and the Super Bowl, a lot of stuff that you can earn some serious money on. But it genuinely is a smarter way to use your sports and news knowledge, and you can close position whenever you want. So be sure to go download Kalshi using the link in the description, and don't forget to use the partner code DIGESTNHL, just like you see on your screen right now, to get a $20 bonus, and to thank you once again, Kalshi, for sponsoring this video. Now, given all the recent reports and things that have been going on, the two goalies are something that really has solidified some big wins for the Wild in this season. And given some recent reports that we're going to jump into today, that may no longer be the case very, very soon. And initially, starting with this coming out from Rob Ellis of NHLTradeRumors.com. Now, they've gotten some stuff right, but some stuff also very wrong. But this is something that, at this point right now, is very confirmed, and we're going to explain why in a moment. But the Wild are still hunting to target a legitimate first-line center or an elite scoring winger to cement this team as a bona fide Stanley Cup contender. But here's the kicker. To get quality, you have to give quality. And the name circulating in the rumor mill is one that might make fans sweat: Jesper Wallstedt. Now, never did I think at this point in the season right now would Jesper Wallstedt be someone that I would be comfortable trading, but with Bill Guerin being able and really willing to give up a massive package for Quinn Hughes, one that ultimately you knew you were going to have to give up in Liam Ogren, Marco Rossi, and Zeev Boyum, as well as a pick, that really shows us that he's willing to move quite a few things that some stuff may never have thought you would see in a deal. But I mean, like I said, looking at the goaltending tandem here throughout the season, these two have been great. They've been very, very good. Filip Gustavsson, Jesper Wallstedt really going 50-50 over the last couple of weeks at this point, since around mid-December, which has seemed like the best option and where we see the best performance out of these two. But Filip Gustavsson's extension kicking in next year, they trust him. They knew they were going to trust him when they signed him to that deal, while Jesper Wallstedt was at the point where we knew he was going to come up with the departure and retirement of Marc Andre Fleury. And that right there showed to this team, showed to the fans that they have their trust in Filip Gustavsson, but are still going to let Jesper Wallstedt have a chance. And right now, as a goalie myself, I'm a bit conflicted because I do not want to see Jesper Wallstedt traded, but it depends what it is. And with everything that has played out, the wins between the two, the games played, Wallstedt's played 10 less games. But over this season, these two have really found a lot of success, with Jesper Wallstedt having an incredible month of December, I believe it was, and also, November, and really seeing him be able to win you some games. An example of that being last night, where he held that team in against the Montreal Canadiens for quite some time. Couldn't get the win out of it. a lot due to the team just being gassed, not being able to clear the puck. But statistically, Jesper Wallstedt has had the better save percentage, a little more goals against, but that just means he's facing more shots. And, the difference between the two is not that drastic. They've won games for this team that the team should not have won by themselves. I think that is really the bottom line of this. And going on, another little bit of this from Rob Ellis, kind of detailing the same thing. He said, let's be honest, trading a blue-chip goaltender like Jesper Wallstedt is terrifying. He fully admitted it. He has the pedigree, the size, the technical calmness that screams franchise starter. However, asset management is a ruthless business. With Filip Gustavsson locked up until 2031, the Wild have a distinct window of stability in the crease. Guerin has already proven that he has the ice in his veins by shipping out Zeev Boyum, a prospect many deemed untouchable, to bring Hughes to St. Paul. Already a major risk with no extension guaranteed, and that will continue to show on things like this where you may see a name. And we've seen this before in the NHL. Jeremy Swayman and Linus Ullmark, when they were on the Boston Bruins, a very similar situation, except they went the opposite direction by shipping out Linus Ullmark, the older of the two. But with Filip Gustavsson only being 27, Jesper Wallstedt being 22 or 23, there's not that much of a difference between them, but once again, the first-round pick that you spent on Jesper Wallstedt, he was a franchise goalie. He was the unanimous number one goalie in that draft. And any goalie that is drafted in the first round normally has a extreme level of belief behind them by the remainder of the NHL, especially whoever picked them. And at this point in how things look to be going, there's no confidence really that you can say Jesper Wallstedt will stay with this team. And I actually asked Michael Russo on Twitter about the whole concept behind this. I said, is there any truth to some reports saying that Wallstedt is in the rumor mill? And he said, yes, if the price is right. So that just once again proves that, first of all, that article was correct. Rob Ellis is putting in some points, and we've seen Joe Smith and Michael Russo discuss it, but I wanted to be sure before making this video, before kind of delving in and diving into the deepest parts of this and going over what could possibly be the plan, because looking at this, it's either going to be a first-line capable winger or a first-line center. That is what I would do for Jesper Wallstedt, knowing how good he's been this year, but also how good he will continue to be in the future once he's kind of, already settled into the NHL now at this point. But we saw from last year to this year the transition he's taken. He is a very capable and NHL-ready goaltender. On the comparison side of that, Filip Gustavsson is on a very big steal of a deal compared to some of the names that you see him on with this team. And you're looking at some names like Ilya Sorokin, Linus Ullmark, Jake Ottinger, Jeremy Swayman, all kind of at that 8.25 number. Thatcher Demko at 8.5. Having Gustafsson at 6.8 for 5 years after this season, that's a steal, and you cannot deny that. With next year and the year after of 2.2 for Jesper Wallstedt, he's going to remain an RFA, so there are plenty of options for the Wild. There doesn't seem to be any rush, but at this point right now, 2026 June and July, those are the points where Bill Guerin wants to see this team play. And I don't think he thinks that this team can do it right now without adding another piece. If they want another big enough piece to ensure that they will get to June, Jesper Wallstedt may be the piece. So let me know, ladies and gentlemen, what you think about this, what you think about these reports, and especially knowing that these are pretty much confirmed now, how things are going to play out. I don't want to theorize any names because I want Jesper Wallstedt to stay on this team. I think he is going to be one of, if not the best goalie in the league for years to come down the road. And right now, trading him for anybody I feel like who could be available, I don't think you can get your value in return for what he's done. And I mean, although you're looking at a November, which was elite, a December, which was very good, an October, which he struggled, a January, which he struggled so far as well, the stats like that don't matter to me. He has shown that he's capable of stealing games, winning games, guaranteeing you wins in games, and that's what the Wild need. I don't think you can split this goaltending tandem up and kind of go on a situation where you're relying on one goalie way, way, way too much. So let me know what you guys think about this here in the comments below. Would you be comfortable trading Jesper Wallstedt? For me, I'm guaranteeing myself to say no, and I don't think I will ever change my opinion on that unless it is a for sure, no doubt 100% win in said trade for the Minnesota Wild. So let me know what you think here in the comments below. We're going to be keeping tabs on this as the days and weeks go on, with the roster freeze coming here in about 2 weeks' time for the Olympics. Deadline a month after. A lot of stuff is going down. You won't want to miss it. But that's all I got. If you did enjoy, give it a like. Hit the sub button as well. I'm signing out. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.